If you move into Japan, the one thing you're going to have to put a lot of thought into is where you're going to live. And I have a suggestion for you. A share house. Because a share house has everything you need to make living easy and for a low price. This isn't an advert. The reason for staying in a share house is simple. If you are a new arrival in Japan, you can't really get an apartment straight off the bat. You see, Japan has some very weird and strict rules about apartment rental, and this doesn't mean it's completely impossible to find an apartment, it just makes it kind of difficult to do. For apartment rental, you're going to need to have key money, deposit money, you're also going to have to pay the estate agent, and then on top of that, you're going to need a guarantor, which means you need someone in Japan to vouch for you and say that they will pay for things if you can't afford to. Now granted, there are guarantor services that can, be a guarantor for you and you pay them, but then you're just adding costs to your initial move-in. Whereas at a share house, you only have one fee to pay, and that's the contract fee, which you'll have to pay anywhere that you move into in Japan anyway. This usually is around about the price of a month's rent on top of your rent itself. Big share houses like this one have like massive lounges like this, which are, it's huge in here. And we also have theatre, we have a game system and TV, which is behind me, or behind you, in front of me. And yeah, I'm not saying all share houses will have this kind of luxurious environment. If you go for something called like a social residence or a social apartments or something like that, usually they're about like this size, and it makes you feel way more community driven because everyone's always hanging out in the lounge. They're not right now because it's just after work, so they're probably still heading home. Also, most of them will come with a kitchen like this. Not as big as this is ludicrous for Japan, and you probably won't be getting anything close to this in an apartment unless you start forking over the yen, which you probably won't have since it's your first place you're living. And that is all paid for within the rent, which makes living here kind of cheap compared to having to pay for all your bills and stuff and extras at an apartment or house. Of course, the word share house comes with the connotations that you are sharing and therefore you have to be quite social to enjoy one. Not true. Although I am a social person and I like hanging out with people, I really do enjoy being in my room and creating things and hanging out on my own and watching Netflix and all sorts of stuff like that. And I've never had a problem here. It's quiet, it's easygoing, and when you don't want to hang out in the kitchen and you don't want to hang out in the lounge, take your food, bring it to your room. It's your room, you do what you want with it, hence why I've got these posters. If you're a social person, or even if you're not a social person, share houses hold events and social gatherings and movie nights and stuff like that to make people get to know each other, and that is the way you make contacts, and that is the way you make friends, and it's the best way to make friends in Japan because everything here is super relaxed and super easygoing. I will, however, warn people, the rooms in share houses are not big, like at all. They're quite small for what you're paying. The reason for this is because you're paying for the convenience of the whole house rather than the individual room. What is this hand gesture I'm doing? And so that means the room size gets smaller, but you pay an overall higher rent because you get all of the extras and stuff, and that's great. Even though this share house is only 25 minutes commute to Shibuya, the rent isn't actually that high. It's around about £400, which in Tokyo is not that much, even though it sounds like quite a lot. So the share house company that I'm staying in is Oak House. Honestly, I think that Oak House is one of the better share house providers. They're often very quick with fixing your problems and they have 24-hour support no matter what. There are more boutique share house companies that have a much higher class version of share houses that you can get into. They, on the other hand, will be very expensive and they tend to be further away from town because they aim for bigger residents. I think if you're coming to Tokyo just for a week or a month, just like a holiday, and you want to make friends in Tokyo, a share house is a perfect way to do that, especially if you don't know anyone here already. Staying in a share house means that everyone will be willing to chat to you, willing to talk to you, and want to get to know you because that's what this place is all about. I wonder if I've said enough benefits about share houses yet. Whew! I've been J Hill Life, you guys have been awesome, and if you liked that video, go ahead and give it a like, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm back every single weekend with a nerd culture video, a Japan video, or a vlog, depending on the situation that week. But until next time, keep inspiring yourself. Peace. Oh, also, if you do subscribe, make sure to click that bell so you get notifications and stuff, because that's kind of important. See ya!